The Golden State Warriors are at a pivotal moment, a crossroads that could define the future of their franchise for the next several seasons. With the aging core of Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, and KLAY Thompson entering the twilight of their careers, the window for another championship run is closing fast. And if there's one glaring issue that's been haunting them for years, it's the lack of a true dominant big man. Not just a tall body to throw into the paint, but someone who can anchor the defense, handle the ball when needed, stretch the floor with reliable shooting, and most importantly, score in multiple ways. The Warriors don't just need size. They need versatility. They need someone who checks every box. They need a game changer. Quinton Post? Yeah, the potential is there. Tall, agile, decent shot, and promising tools on both ends of the floor. But let's be honest, he's young. Maybe too young. When the lights get brighter in the playoffs and the pressure ramps up, can you really count on a guy who hasn't been battle-tested at that level? Maybe one day. But not right now. The Warriors don't have time to wait for development projects. They need someone who's ready to contribute on day one. Someone who brings production and presence from the jump. Draymond Green has been phenomenal. Defensively for over a decade, no question about it. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year, a floor general on that end, and the emotional leader of his team. But his offensive game, it's been inconsistent at best and virtually non-existent at worst. Teams don't respect his shot. Opponents sag off him, daring him to pull up, and that hurts spacing for Steph and KLAY. It's a problem. And it's not going away. So here's the question. What if the Warriors could flip that defensive anchor into someone who brings both ends of the floor together? What if there was a scenario, however unlikely, where Golden State could go out and bring in Karl-Anthony Towns? Yeah, I know. It sounds wild, a shocker. But hear me out. According to recent odds, the Warriors are sitting with the third highest chances of landing Towns in a trade. That's not nothing. That's not smoke without some kind of fire, especially when you consider what Cat just did in the playoffs. He was a monster. Single-handedly kept the Knicks afloat in that series against the Pacers multiple times. Clutch buckets, big rebounds, timely defense. He wasn't perfect, but he showed up when it mattered. Now let's be real. Does this trade actually feel likely? Probably not. The financials are tricky. Towns has a huge contract. The Warriors would need to match salaries, and they don't exactly have a stockpile of assets to throw around. They're strapped by the first apron, they've got long-term money tied up, and frankly, the Knicks don't have much incentive to move on from Cat after the impact he's had. But just imagine, you send Draymond Green to New York, you're giving them 4 rings of championship experience, a proven leader, and arguably the best team defender of his generation. That could be enticing for a Knicks team, still lacking that real playoff. Pedigree. Draymond instantly raises their basketball IQ and brings the kind of intensity that New York would eat up. He becomes their enforcer, their glue guy, their emotional engine. And in return, the Warriors get Towns, a legitimate scoring big who can play inside and out, space the floor, and make life easier for Steph Curry. And for those of you saying, didn't Jimmy Butler and Cat already try that in Minnesota? Yes, they did. And no, it didn't go great, but people change, situations change. That Timberwolves team didn't have the infrastructure, the coaching, or the culture that Golden State has built. You put Towns next to Steph Curry and potentially even Butler again in a more mature setting, and you might just have the right mix this time. Chemistry is always a question, but talent tends to figure it out. So let's talk about what the trade might look like. The Knicks gave up serious value to get Towns in the first place. They moved Julius Randle, a quality scorer and rebounder, Dante DiVincenzo, who brings shooting and hustle, and a protected first-round pick. They also shipped off a few other assets and landed Towns along with James Nagy. So if the Warriors want to replicate that kind of package, it's going to cost them. Think Draymond Green, probably Moses Moody or Jonathan Kuminga, maybe both, plus a future first. And that's just to get the money and talent close. Look at what Towns has done since arriving in New York. His numbers jumped almost immediately. He added about 4 points to his scoring average, got back up to nearly 13 rebounds a game, a career high, and his efficiency was elite. We're talking 54% from the field, 42% from beyond the arc, and over 80% of the free throw line. That's elite territory for a big man. And the best part? He stayed healthy, played in 72 games, his most since 2 seasons ago. The man produced. Even in the playoffs, he was a force. Over 20 points per game. Big-time performances in key moments. Game 4 against the Pacers, he took over in the fourth quarter and dragged the Knicks to a win. 35 points in a closeout game, even though they lost. Yes, he has his flaws. Defensive lapses, mental errors, occasional disappearing acts. But the upside? Massive. Now you pair that with Steph. With a healthy Andrew Wiggins, maybe Jimmy Butler if things fall into place. That's a trio that can do damage in the Western Conference. The question is whether the Warriors are willing to gut their depth to make it happen. Because make no mistake, the trade might work on paper, but it'll leave the roster thin. The Warriors already have limited room to operate financially. Losing Draymond, Moody, or Kuminga, maybe Looney in a separate move to make space, and a couple of picks would leave them with just a handful of guys under contract. They'd be scrambling to fill out the bench with veteran minimums and undrafted rookies. That's risky. Golden State has always thrived on depth. The strength in numbers mentality has been their calling card. They've won with guys like Barbosa, Livingston, Iguodala, and Otto Porter Jr. coming off the bench and making real contributions. You trade all that away, and suddenly your margin for error shrinks drastically. But then again, maybe that's what it takes. Maybe swinging for the fences is the only option left. Because let's be honest, Steph Curry doesn't have forever. You can't keep rolling out the same roster and expecting a different result. The league has evolved. The West is stacked. Denver, Minnesota, Dallas, they're all young, athletic, and hungry. The Warriors have to evolve too. That's why Karl-Anthony Towns is so intriguing. He's not a perfect player, but he's a high ceiling, fit next to Curry. Someone who can create his own shot, shoot from deep, and take pressure off Steph in ways Draymond simply can't. Yes, you lose defensive intensity. Yes, you lose leadership. But maybe you gain a new identity. One that's more modern, more offensive-minded, and built to outscore opponents instead of grinding them down. So we ran the trade through the simulator. Used Fanspo, which lets you plug in salaries, contracts, draft picks, everything. And with a few tweaks, it technically works. Warriors send out Draymond, Buddy Hield in a sign and trade, Jonathan Kuminga, and a couple of picks. Knicks send back Cat. The money lines up. The contracts balance. The trade is possible. But the aftermath? That's where it gets tricky. You're down to maybe 7 players under contract. You'd have to sign 3 or 4 guys just to meet roster minimums. You'd have no real bench. You'd be relying on Quinton Post, Gui Santos, maybe Trace Jackson-Davis to fill out meaningful playoff minutes. That's a gamble. And let's not forget the cap implications. Warriors are dancing dangerously close to the second apron, which brings major restrictions. No mid-level exceptions, limited trade flexibility, fewer tools to build around your stars. So if you're going to cross that line, it better be for a real shot at the title. But you know what? That's the reality of chasing championships in this era. Sometimes you have to go all in. Sometimes you take the risk. And maybe, just maybe, Karl-Anthony Towns is the kind of swing that can keep the Warriors dynasty alive just a little bit longer. Now imagine that starting lineup. Steph Curry at point, Jimmy Butler on the wing, Karl-Anthony Towns as your stretch 5. Add in Wiggins, whoever earns that 5th spot in camp. That's a squad that can compete. A squad that can space the floor, hit shots, and hang with anybody. The only question left is whether the Warriors have the guts and the assets to pull the trigger. And that's the beauty of the offseason. Possibilities like this, the dream scenarios, the what ifs. We don't know if it'll happen. We don't even know if it's being discussed seriously. But it's fun to think about. And in the NBA, crazy things happen every year. So what do you think? Would you trade Draymond and the depth for a shot at Towns? Would he fit with Curry? Would the Knicks even consider giving him up? Let me know your thoughts. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Is Kevin Durant really heading back to the Warriors? A potential reunion that could shake the NBA. In the world of basketball, rumors can spread like wildfire, especially when they involve some of the biggest names in a game. The latest buzz making headlines is the possibility of Kevin Durant returning to the Golden State Warriors. reuniting with his former teammates Stephen Curry and KLAY Thompson. While nothing is confirmed, this potential move has already set the NBA world on fire with excitement and speculation. Kevin Durant's departure from the Warriors in 2019 was one of the most significant moments of recent NBA history. After winning 2 championships and 2 Finals MVP awards with Golden State, Durant took his talents to Brooklyn, seeking a new challenge. However, after several turbulent seasons with the Nets, injuries, and changes in the team's roster, rumors have surfaced that Durant is reconsidering his future, and the Warriors might be his next destination. Sources close to the situation suggest that Durant has already held secret meetings with Curry and Thompson, possibly to discuss what a reunion could look like. The 3 of them once formed one of the most feared trios in NBA history, leading the Warriors to dominance and forcing every other team to adjust their strategy just to compete. The thought of KD, Curry, and KLAY joining forces again is enough to send shockwaves through the league. Golden State's front office remains tight-lipped, but insiders hint that the organization could be open to bringing Durant back if the pieces fall into place. After all, the Warriors have been in a rebuilding phase, trying to find the right mix to get back to championship contention. Adding KD could be the missing spark to propel them back to the top. Critics, of course, question how such a reunion would impact team chemistry and salary cap constraints. Durant's massive contract and the Warriors' existing salary commitments mean that making this happen won't be easy. It would require some clever maneuvering, trades, or even a willingness by Durant to take a pay cut, something he has never shied away from in the past when chasing rings. From a fan perspective, the idea of KD returning to the Bay Area has divided opinions. Some see it as a thrilling chance to watch basketball magic live once again, while others worry it might overshadow the young talent the Warriors have been cultivating. But one thing is clear, the mere possibility has ignited discussions in sports bars, social media, and analyst panels across the country. The NBA is no stranger to blockbuster moves, and a Kevin Durant reunion with Curry and KLAY would be one of the most explosive yet. Whether this is just a tantalizing rumor or the start of a historic comeback remains to be seen. For now, fans will be watching closely, hoping for that jaw-dropping headline that confirms KD's triumphant return to Golden State. As the offseason progresses, expect this story to grow louder. In the world of professional basketball, nothing is impossible, and Kevin Durant back with the Warriors could rewrite the future of the league forever. Stay tuned, because this rumor might just turn into reality, and when it does, the NBA will never be the same. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.